Hello there, Nick Frost here, doing some Twitter questions, a Q&A if you will, on Amazon to celebrate the release on DVD and Blu-ray of my film, Cuban Fury. It's out June the 9th. Let's crack on. This is a question from Daisy Jennifer 1, and she asks, if you could go back and change something in any film or project that you've taken part in, what would it be? Now, I think the easy answer for me, Daisy Jennifer 1, is absolutely nothing. I think, you know, if you get into that game of wanting to change things, you'd never stop, essentially. I think once you stop on a film and it's all edited and done, then that's it. You just have to let it go. I think as an actor, you get lots and lots of chances to, you know, do the performance that you want to do. And if you're not happy, then you should say something there and then. That said, I'm still very critical whenever I watch anything I do. I think I could have probably been a lot better. But I think a lot of people feel that, and that's probably why I don't tend to watch anything I do. Is the answer. Thanks. What a lovely question. Thanks, Daisy Jennifer 1. Let's crack on. What's the coolest thing you've ever seen in a museum? Asks Jelly Duck 100. Well, sir, stroke madam, because you could be both. That's the joy of the internet, really, and its downfall. I recently went to the California Academy of Science in San Francisco. Wow, what a place, what an amazing place. I'm a big fan of science, that's where science dwelled. It was amazing, and they have like a giant sphere, which is essentially an ecosystem, and the bottom is completely full of water and giant fish. These things called alligator gar, which grow to like 12 feet, and they just kind of swim all over you, and then you essentially walk on up to the top, and in the top are these amazing butterflies, and you can look down at every ecosystem on the way up. It was absolutely fantastic. I had a terrible, terrible hangover, and the science helped to cure my hangover. Thank you, sir, madam. What's your favourite film of all time? Asks Ashley McCammon. My favourite film of all time is the Steven Spielberg epic Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I watched it for the first time, I think when I was 9 or 10 years old. One of my auntie's boyfriends, bear in mind this was probably 1983 or 4, brought it round to her house one afternoon on a VHS cassette. I don't know how old you are, it doesn't say, but they were really massive. And he put it in to the tape player, and the film completely blew my mind. And something I love about cinema is the fact that when I watch that film now, it makes me feel exactly as I did when I watched it as a 10-year-old boy. And I love the fact that movies can do that for you. Of course, you know, back then I watched it and it was all about aliens and lights and you know, keyboards that spoke to you know, alien life. But the more and more I watch it, the more you understand. And I bought the novelization. I found a first edition novelization of Close Encounters in a junk shop when I was 16. Little did I know that 20 years later I'd be shooting a film with Steven Spielberg, and I got him to sign it. I got him to autograph the novelization. So that book's now probably worth 11 or 12 pounds. But there's an amazing scene in Close Encounters where they use a giant keyboard to communicate with the mothership. And if you read the book, what you find out in the book is that keyboard belonged to Stevie Wonder, which is kind of amazing. You never imagine it. And then when you watch the film again, you see it in a whole different light, that the keyboard they play belongs to Stevie Wonder, which was kind of, I don't know how old you are, so I don't know if you may not even know who Stevie Wonder is. But look him up, he's great. Superstition is a beautiful song. Goodbye. Right, let's crack on. This is from K1ump, or could be Clump, using a 1 instead of an L, which is clever. You're quite light and nimble on your toes for a big bloke. What's your secret? I have hollow bones, is my secret, like a seagull. I think my secret, I mean, I've always been a big man. When I was 16 years old, I weighed 18 stone. I played rugby to quite a high standard. So I've always been a bit light in my loafers. I did martial arts. I did kickboxing for 3 or 4 years. And, you know, it pays to have quick hands and feet. So, you know, when it came to the dancing in this joint, Cuban Fury, I just trained a lot, you know, and I think my feet got a lot more nimble. And I got to a point where I thought you know, just think that you have quick feet and just essentially just move them quicker. That's it. There's no big secret apart from the hollow bones. Thanks very much. This one's from Harley Logan. Harley says, you're banished to a desert island and can only take 3 things with you. What do you take? It's a great question. I love wilderness living, and it's a question that I often think about when I'm alone at home and drifting off to sleep. I think, what would I do? How would I live? Originally, it was all about zombies. What would I do when the zombies came? I asked my publicist earlier what she would take, and she said a lip balm and a George Foreman grill. Where's she going to plug it in? It's lunacy. Here's my answer, Harley. I'm going to take a fish hook, a machete, and a lighter. I think with those 3 things, you're pretty much covered in terms of survival. The machete's going to help you to build a great kind of bivouac or den to keep you dry and keep you out of the sun. With a fish hook, you know, it says it. The clues right there. You can fish with it. The machete, I guess, I can also defend myself if there's any creatures, or if I'm walking through a lagoon and I see perhaps a poorly shark, I can jump in and chop it up and eat it. Finally, the lighter. You need to keep warm, you know. And what I do first thing is perhaps build a giant fire down there on a beach or slightly up if there's a raised position. So if I saw a ship or plane, I could quickly run and light a signal fire, and hopefully the smoke would signify to them that I'm there, and they'd come and save me. Let's crack on. This is from Natalie Price 3. I'm not sure if that says that she is 3, which would be weird. Out of all the characters you have played in your acting career, which was the hardest to de-roll from? What a great question. I think, unfortunately for my partner, I take it all very seriously in terms of kind of being a bit method. I did a drama for the BBC called Money, which was an adaptation of a Martin Amis book called Money, and the character was John Self, and he was a very angry, violent alcoholic, and I found it very difficult to let go of John Self, because I think probably there was a part of him in me and vice versa anyway, which meant that it was, you know, it was great to work on, but it was kind of tough to go home. I think any film I do, I find it tough to go home, you know, because I kind of love doing it so much, and I love being on a film set so much that you just kind of want to be there all the time, which sounds bonkers. I hope you're not 3. It's a really depressing answer for a 3-year-old to hear. All right, this is L.A. Angelus, or L.R.R. Angulus. Of all the films and TV programs that you have done, what's the most memorable moment you had on set? Another great question. I think that has to be when Simon Pegg and I shot the movie Paul in New Mexico. We got to blow up a house, which was absolutely amazing. And it's those funny things that when you write a script and you write one really small line in the stage directions, and that line was, the house is blown to pieces. One tiny line, and then you see the amount of work that goes into that just to blow a house up. We found an old farmhouse, a derelict farmhouse in the middle of nowhere on this plain, and we shot there, and then on the last day of filming, we blew it up, and it was amazing, because it wasn't like a cheap explosion with kind of gas and bits of polystyrene. it was like a massive explosion, and the whole thing just blew into a million pieces. And it's actually on the DVD as one of the extras. You can see how incredibly excited Simon, me and Bill Hader and Greg, the director, and everyone got at witnessing a house blowing up. And I think at one point you can actually see the pressure wave flood over us, which was amazing. Thank you. This is from Vic Bird. Red or brown sauce on a sausage sandwich? Red, every day of the week. 28.5 it's red. This is from Bethnus12 and Bethnus12, I don't know. I really want to know how Oo got into the acting business. It was a beautiful and terrible accident. I had known Simon Pegg since I was 21. I was now kind of 28, 29, and he and Jessica Hines got the job of writing Spaced, and I used to do a character for Simon called Mike Watt, and he said, I really want you to come and do this character on the show, and I never imagined that it would ever happen, and I kind of begrudgingly said, yeah, all right. And then kind of 6 weeks later, I was in a rehearsal room with these lovely actors and actresses having to act for the first time, and it was a terrifying ordeal. And I think it was only after Shaun of the Dead that I started to think, well, you perhaps could do this for a living. You're kind of all right at it, and maybe you should stop effing around and put a bit of effort in. And so I did, and completely fell in love with it. And that, I'm very, very lucky, really. Thanks, Beth. Okay, I think, sadly, this is the last one of the 10. And it's from Gabby Morphin, too. And it says, what is the best part of your relationship with Simon Pegg? Now, the answer is simple. It's the sex. Gabby, thanks so much. I hope you've enjoyed my questions here on Amazon. Don't forget that you can pre-order my film, Cuban Fury, right now. Pre-order it so it comes on June the 9th.